Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups, limited beliefs, and relationships. And today we are going to have a great topic to unpack. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not an expert on this, but it's going to be a fun topic to unpack. And I'll give you my take. How to marry a rich man. How to marry rich men, plural. And this is just my perspective, and I would love for people to put in the comments their experiences with this. And everyone's always susceptible to being an expert just based on knowing a few people that have done this, that have married rich men or rich men that you know in your sphere of influence. And so, full disclosure, I didn't grow up rich. I don't consider myself rich now. But I have a few friends. I've been in a few circles. And that's where some of my perspective would come from. And then from clients that have been with men, because I coach both women and men, their perspectives in the situations, things that they unknowingly didn't realize were going to be playbooks within the relationship. And like I said, this is going to be a fun thing to unpack. There's no exact science to this, and rich men is a big, broad field. So, like I said, put it in the comments if you watch this later on, what you think, what your experiences have been, and what you feel is true or not true. Because it's all an opinion on this one. But I'll tell you what, there are some things overlooked in the glamour of the idea of having someone take care of you for the rest of your life. Not have to worry about money ever again. And some people say, oh, gold digger. Oh, that's all she cares about. Well, a lot of times the reason someone cares about something deeply is because they've been neglected of it. They grew up poor, they grew up struggling, or they grew up with a role model, their mom or an aunt, that taught them that this is how relationships are, that go for the money, go for a guy with money, you're going to be better off. And you know what? If you look at the cavemen, Neanderthals, early humans, probably what a woman was looking for was a good hunter, provider, protector, strong, reliable, right? Because that was part of survival when there was no money, when there was no extravagance. It was like, I want to eat and be protected. And so there's a lot of that built into attraction now. But here's the interesting thing. You no longer have to be strong and big to have safety, protection, and good food. You could just be rich, right? So it's become kind of the alternative to finding that. Isn't it interesting? Jesse, what's going on, bud? I will get to the chat soon. I'm sure you can chime in on this. And I'm sure you're not interested in marrying a rich man, but it's an interesting topic. It's going to be a good one, bud. So I've wrote out some things here, just some quick hitters, and then I'll get into the quote of the day, and then I'll get a little deeper as we get more people on deck. And if you're in the comments right now and you have a topic that you want me to touch on, go ahead and throw it in there. If you have some questions along the way, go ahead and throw it in there. And this is how it's going to be. It's going to be 10 a.m. Pacific time all this week, so jump in. All right, so how to marry rich men. Move to places with rich men. Surprise, surprise. There's certain areas, such as big cities, New York City, London. These areas tend to have more rich people, but more rich men, right? You could probably go on the internet and check this. I actually did a quick Google check of this, and I was surprised to see San Francisco was number one, and I don't know how they rated that or where that came from. San Francisco had the most rich men, or what was considered rich, but number two was Anchorage, Alaska. That's kind of surprising. And the crazy thing is, Anchorage, Alaska, probably, don't quote me on this, but from what I've heard from other people, there is a big disparity in women to men ratio. So if you went up there to Alaska, you probably would have a good chance of snagging one of these rich guys. So move to places where rich men would live. And so one of these other websites said, move to the coast. Florida, California has the most rich males per capita. Okay, so this just gives you an idea. You're not going to, I always come back to what's interesting is if you look at a comedian or an actor or an actress, they all had to move to Hollywood. If you look at anyone's story, George Carlin, Joe Rogan, they all had to move to LA. This is the mecca of show business. That's changed a bit because, you can have your own platform in different places now, but most of them had to start there. So there's certain hotbeds for this kind of stuff. And so if you're really dialed in to finding a rich person, you probably have to live in an area where there's a lot of rich people. You're not going to probably marry a rich guy in Nebraska unless it's Warren Buffett. Okay, so number 2, always tell them that money doesn't matter to you. This is hilarious to me. I read this on a website today, and I thought to myself, isn't that funny? So if you're dating a rich guy, make sure up front, because they're used to being hounded or being used for their money or pursued for their money, make sure that you let them know that you're not about the money, that money doesn't matter to you. And it just made me think of a few people that I know that are rich that started dating women that they married, and this was the narrative. I don't care about money. And whenever someone says that, it's kind of a red flag for me, because even if money's not your priority, you do need to care about it in this day and age, correct? You do need to make some sort of money. For example, I don't care about being rich. Okay. I don't care about money, period. Really? So how are you gonna eat? That screams out to me, well, then you're going to be dependent on someone else that makes money to help you out. See, there's a difference. I don't care about extravagant items. Okay. I don't care about money, period. Really? How's that? So how do you get by? And if you look at their history, it's like, wow, you've just had people take care of you. Okay. Number 3, find where their soft spot is. What's your leverage? This is a really good one. What do you bring to the table? So this would probably be with any relationship, but I think what happens with someone that's quote unquote rich is from the get-go, you feel like they're better than you. I'm not speaking for everyone, but I'm saying in a situation where a woman is profiling or looking for a rich guy, this guy has an advantage right from the get-go of being rich, being able to pay the bills, having something that you really want. So what's going to be his soft spot? In a lot of cases, it's you're extremely hot, you're extremely good looking, your cleavage is showing all the time, and he can show it off to his buddies, right? There might be a different soft spot, right? Find the soft spot. What's going to be your leverage? What's going to be your value versus his value? Because his value is obvious. Number 4, look your best. Be the Ferrari in the group of Toyotas. Usually, not always, rich people want the best. They want to show other people they have the best. Number 5, and this might be a little twist to this whole thing, actually be their equal in your own life. Make your own money, have your own success. That would be ideal, right? Then they wouldn't have any leverage over you. Learn how to read people's needs. And then I just went through relationships with a rich man. Keep your appearance up and ask yourself this: is he a cheater? Because if he's a cheater, and you, by the way, you can accept that. Rich guys, newsflash, if they cheat, will have a lot more options than the average cheater. And they'll also have the ability to duck and move and hide that from you. So if you're already insecure about that, or you already suspect that, where there's smoke, there's fire, someone that has money has the ability to cheat at a much higher value. So if you deal with that from the get-go, it's kind of going to be a theme. It's going to be something you can accept or not accept. Number 3, he'll probably want to control the situation and get his way. At least If it's a powerful, rich individual that usually gets his way, flies first class, has a personal assistant, okay? Now, your leverage is if you live in a certain country where when you get married, you get half. Once you get married, the leverage changes because you can say, hey, look, now that we're married, anytime I want to get divorced, I can take half. All right, so I'm going to get a little deeper in this. Eduardo Martinez, welcome, my friend. Miguel Coronado, welcome. I'll get to your questions in a little bit. And like I said, any comments on this is a fun topic, and we're just going to get a little deeper on it. But it's something that sometimes people duck and move from. And it actually has some useful information on this topic based on attraction overall and just being honest with what you're looking for, okay? And how you would filter for this particular situation. So you're not going to, so the thing about this is instead of fighting the idea, oh, I don't care about money, just be fucking honest if you do. That's cool. It's totally fine. I respect that. Totally respect that. It's like when someone comes to me on the show or when I do live coaching sessions and they discuss some big word disorder or something they saw on YouTube, and I said, I'm not sure what that means. What is it? Don't lie, right? Just don't lie about it. Be honest. All right, so quote of the day. Don't fight it, ladies. For many, it's the ideal situation. A man that can take care of you financially. One that will give you a lifestyle you've always wanted. And you'll never have to worry about money again if you marry a rich man. Then why do all the women on Desperate Housewives or the real Desperate Housewives look to be living miserable lives? That's just my take. They're thoroughly attached to outdoing each other, to winning every argument, and are extremely dedicated to looking their best at all costs. From outside, my perspective, their lives look shallow and purposeless. But if you did a poll, I'd bet a majority of women would love a rich husband to take care of them. And putting the Desperate Housewives aside, there are probably some women out there that found a rich man to take care of them, that are living their best life of fulfillment and grace. Now, just to clarify, I'm not saying every woman is searching for a rich man or that that's all they are looking for. But let's just say it looks extremely good on a man's resume. It's an extremely big bonus if the guy's rich. And the fact that he's rich would offset other areas such as looks, personality, height, insecurities. My message would be careful what you wish for, because getting a rich guy or man involves more than just living the life you always desired. In many cases, if you quit your job, the marriage becomes your job. Appeasing this rich man will become your full-time job, and it does come with a salary and benefits. But the question is, do you get to keep your soul intact? And to answer the question, how can I marry a rich man? Title of the show. You focus on it. You look your best. You find environments with rich men, and you hang out there. Give off the vibe. Then be prepared for the consequences of being in a relationship with a rich man. Someone once told me that was very wealthy, very rich, living married to a rich man in a rich community with rich friends. Extremely rich. Some people take a crap just so someone else can smell it. I didn't really get it at the time. I was like in my early 20s. I was like, what does this even mean? What she was saying is that they all had become in competition. Her groups of friends, the other families that were rich, her kids' playmates. It became a contest of who has more stuff, who's doing more better things. And I thought to myself, years later, I got it. And that's what, when you watch these shows, it's like sometimes someone just takes a crap for someone else to smell it, right? Not all rich people are like this. Not all rich relationships are like this. But if that's what you're going for, an ego-based one, show off to your friends, careful what you wish for. All right, let's just dive a little deeper into this. So, just for the record, I'll leave it to you to define what level of money makes someone rich. Okay, so different areas of the world, someone would define it as different things. But from my perspective for this show, I'll say someone that's worth over $2 million and generates an income of over $20K a month. That'd be rich by world standards. Okay, if that's, someone says New York City, that's nothing. Okay, you win. I'm just going to stick with that. So we have a baseline. Okay. All right. Number one, getting into it, to unpack that statement I just unveiled. Accept that you're looking to marry a rich man. This is first and foremost. This is what I talk about in the beginning of the sentence. Just accept the fact that that's what you're looking for. Don't deny it. Don't be ashamed of it. Own it. Okay. It's not really a lot of shame in it. The reason you're probably looking for that, it was either instilled in you at a young age by your mother or your father or your guardians, or you saw a movie or something like that and you're like, that's a lifestyle, or you grew up really poor and this is the quickest way to get out of that. Okay. Don't talk around it or act like money doesn't matter to you. Be real about it. It's okay. A lot of them want to marry a rich guy. So that's number one. Number two, the benefits are that you will be taken care of and then this guy won't ever be asking you for money. With the money he has, you'll be able to do whatever you want and have whatever you want. It sounds great. But in most cases, men that are rich, especially if they made the money themselves, not inheritance, will actually want something from you in return. And what does being rich really bring you? Now listen to this, folks, and tell me if this resonates in the chat or in the comments below. This is what being rich really does bring. Convenience, being waited on or service, and having the ability to get what you want when you want it. Okay? Rich men are used to controlling the situation. They usually have many people working under them or serving them. And when you marry one, this isn't always true. Don't be surprised if he's controlling or manipulative. If he has all the leverage, you want money, you want an allowance, you want a lifestyle like this. He knows that, but you have to do this, this, and this. You have less ability to negotiate in the relationship. Okay. And like I said, he's used to getting his way. He's used to people doing what he wants them to do. That's what money provides. Now, number three. Now, if a woman creates her own leverage, here's a catch. You'll like this one. By not signing a prenup and getting married in a region of the world that favors the wife in divorce. Now, the reason I wrote this is a lot of my clients are not American. Okay. So a lot of people that are from America thinks the world revolves around America because that's the only place I've ever been. Completely fine. But the reality is there's different rules to marriage in different areas of the world. Okay. So getting back to this now, if a woman creates her own leverage by not signing a prenup and getting married in a region that favors the wife in divorce, then once she is married, she will have the leverage or more leverage. But then the marriage becomes about leverage. If you divorce, fine, I'll take half. And she believes better off than she started. She might even meet another rich guy. Okay, that's the caveat. If you notice, before that woman gets married, and I've seen this before. When they're dating and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. She'll do anything for him. She'll walk on shattered glass, whatever. Once they get married, have a kid, it all changes. And now the power has changed because she knows She knows this money's not just yours. You're not just rich. We're both rich. And if something goes wrong or you continue to try to control me or boss me around or get your way, I don't have to take it. And there's a lot of literature, books, and things on that. Right? So, getting back to the core question of this show, number 4, how to marry a rich man. Always, always, always look your best. A lot of rich people want the best. Best car, the best neighborhood, the best looking. That could mean full cleavage, tight dress, mini skirt. You want to be looking like a Ferrari in a crowd of Toyotas. You understand what I mean? Because think about it. When a rich guy drives up and he's got a Ferrari, puts it in the parking lot, it's an ego thing. It's, hey, I'm rich, pound my chest, fee, fi, fo. He wants the same thing when he takes his woman out of that seat. Rich men like the best and they want what other people value but can't have. Now, do some average looking women get rich men? Yes, but that's usually before they become rich. Let me say that again. Now, do some average looking women get rich men? Yes, but that's usually before they become rich. You met him before he went to dental school. You met him before his company went public. And yes, there are exceptions to every rule, but overall, rich men have big egos that have been petted for a long time. Those with egos want the best, not just for them, but to show off. So number two, next rule, be prepared to chase him. He's got a lot of options. You'll have to do something special. Number 3, hang out in environments with a lot of rich guys. Learn these environments. Now, here's a really interesting story to that. I forgot what book it was in, but it might have been in the Rational Mail. NBA players that fly to different cities, NBA being the National Basketball Association, these guys, the worst player on the team's making a couple mil a year or $1 million a year, right? They got the status, they got everything. They have groupies like rock stars, right? There's women that hang out at these hotels trying to snag a fish. And it's been reported, this might shock some people out there, that the NBA put out a memo, and I'm not sure which year this was, but that if you were using a condom to make sure that you flushed it and didn't put it in the garbage can, because women were impregnating themselves with the discarded condom. Okay? So this is their way of snagging a fish, okay? Now, there's a possibility too, these superstars, these rock stars, these ultra rich could marry a high school sweetheart, another star that's equal to them, or a groupie. But be prepared to be of service to his needs first and foremost. The relationship will not be equal. He's used to first-class treatment. Why wouldn't that differ with you? Now, in the beginning, some people are okay with it, but over time, they usually resent unfair treatment. Okay. Number 5, the consequences are that you live a life where you are constantly putting your husband on a pedestal for his wealth. Where does that leave you as your looks dwindle? Where does that leave you over a long period of time? Does it get old? Is there a good chance you'll resent him over time for always getting his way, or the fact that you have to ask him for money as a grown adult? At its worst, you'll treat him as a high-paying job. But just remember, a boss can fire you at any time. At its best, you marry him with no prenup and can flip the tables on him at any moment that you're completely unhappy and say, look, I want a divorce and I want half. What's ideal is that he's rich and you never knew it. When you started dating, you didn't care because you didn't know, because you were happy with who you were and what you were doing prior to even meeting him. And it was just a bonus once you found out. and he didn't drive a Ferrari. So he didn't know. That's when it can work. All right, folks, I'm going to get into the live stream. We'll talk about this for a moment. If anyone has any comments, I'm going to get to them right now on the live stream. If you have a story you want to share, which I'm going to get into in a few minutes, send it into writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com. If you want to book a live coaching session, work on your issues with your breakup or your limited beliefs, any anxiety issues, depression, I can help you with that. If you want to try out some guided meditation, some hypnosis, some EFT, which is a tapping technique that I'm now using with clients, highly, highly useful stuff that's effective, just more than talking. Book a live coaching session on my website, writemac.com. All right. So Jesse Chapman, been away in Eastern Europe for the last 12 days. By God, it's a story to tell. Jesse, I look forward to it. We'll talk soon. Odd Carlo. Can I just call you Carlo? I'm Norwegian at age 21, planning to move to Texas. Willis at 25. Why Texas from Norway? Norway seems like a beautiful country. It looks a bit cold, but there's a lot of salmon over there, isn't there? Been away. Does rebounding make a breakup harder? Them rebounding or you rebounding? It depends on the situation and the person. And here's what's interesting. It's easier to rebound or be in a rebound relationship if you are in an area where you can find people that are interested in you. So someone was just asking, oh my God, she got into a relationship a month after we broke up. Well, it depends on a lot of different things, and that's why I have to get your story and talk to you about it. But if your girlfriend was a good catch, if she was good looking, she had a lot going for her, then most likely she's going to have some interested suitors that she can choose from. Now, a rebound doesn't mean she's all in. This is going to be the boyfriend for the rest of her life, but it means, hey, I'm interested. This guy's interested in me. I have an option. I don't have to go out of my way to do it. People of high value in their environments, i.e., for example, good looking, for example, rich, will have more options out of any breakup. And in most cases, will try it out. Now, a rebound doesn't mean that it's going to be all peaches and cream, rose petals and wine glasses. It means, let me see if this works. And sometimes if it doesn't work, it just creates a situation where they miss you more because they compared someone that they were dating to you and it wasn't the same. So it can work two ways. Gay in NYC, welcome. Eduardo Martinez, it's been a while. I hope you're doing well. How does no contact make the dumper feel over time? At its best, they wonder, what are you up to? What have you been doing? You know, whenever someone stops talking to you, friend, family, or colleague, and you were very close to them, you start to wonder why. You start to wonder about them more. You stop thinking about just the bad things. Because Willis, Texas has Logistics Fabric there, which is a Norwegian company. All right. Well, that's a good reason. Thanks for sharing. All right. I got and I find the houses cheaper in Texas, cheaper than here in Norway. Okay. Excellent reason to go there, bud. Excellent. Living in Thailand, I knew a lot of people from Norway. Bro, I want my ex back so badly. It's been 11 days. Okay. I believe you, Miguel. I believe you. Hang in there. Make it through one more day. But I know your story. We've done a session together. Don't call her at this point. Leave it alone. All right, let's get into the story. Coach, I love your channel. Please share my story in the live stream. No problem. I'm currently on a break with my girlfriend, but it feels like we could be done. She's 30 and I'm 33. We met through a mutual friend that kind of set us up. That was 4 years ago, and the relationship had some problems right from the get-go. She had an illness that kept her from working for the first couple months we were together. But once she got better, so did our relationship. All right, so you were able to overcome whatever that was. Whenever you're in a relationship and someone has an issue outside of you, keep in mind if there's a timetable. So like if there's an injury, an illness, it's always nice to get a timetable on that. if you can get through that, they'll appreciate you more and just realize it's not you, it's circumstances of life. So did our relationship. We both work in health and fitness field, and we do a lot of outdoor stuff together. When she first met me, I was about 20,000 in debt and really working on my spending habits. Okay. I told her about 2 years into the relationship about my money issues, and she kind of flipped. Her being someone that actually really watches her money and has pretty big savings. Okay. She couldn't understand, but we got through that, and I eventually paid that debt and now make better money than ever. We were able to overcome that. Well, that's good. That's you've overcome your issues. Good for you. And I learned a lot from her just in keeping a spreadsheet on my finances. Now, how we got to this present moment of taking a break, the fitness retreat she does work at has become a problem. Okay. It's primarily men. She says I'm overreacting, but when she talks about her time there, all the clients are dudes. That's a problem. Okay. And they're all into fitness. It's a problem. And this retreat, she stays on the premises for up to 10 days at a time. It's really good money, but it's fucking ruined our relationship. I get insecure not seeing her for 10 days and working with these guys one-on-one. Well, you know what? Where there's smoke, there's fire. And let's just say this. Let's just say that she's not seeing any of these guys, but the fact that she's in regular in regular interactions with these guys, especially if it's one-on-one, like you said, it's not good for the odds of you staying together, especially if it's a fitness-oriented things and these guys are, in great shape. So you being a little insecure about this, I never, the right thing would be like, I don't care. Most guys would become insecure about this. It's hard to overlook the fact that she's staying there for 10 days too. So this is not an ideal situation. And guess what? The thing about someone's job, if they're making good money and they like it, you can't really tell them they can't do that. She probably looks at it like, look, I'm with you. I'm staying with you. So you have to overcome that over time. But I'm just telling you, I understand where you're coming from. And it's not totally wrong. But I don't think you're going to overcome the fact that she likes her job. And guess what? Whether she says it or not, she likes the guy's attention. Look at it this way. If I was working with women in a fitness retreat that were women in good shape, one-on-one, and even if I had the best girlfriend or wife in the world, 10, 10, 10, I would still enjoy the flirting, the interactions, and I would be more susceptible to possibly leaving her with the temptation of someone, dare I say, better. Okay, so you're not outlandish and getting upset about this. The catch is there's not a whole lot you can do. You can just state your feelings, but it doesn't sound like she's going to change her job. And my suspicions were correct when I checked her phone to find 3 separate guys texting her. Nothing sexual, but I know guys. I know guys do. We don't just check in with women to say hello or how your day is going. Or I just came across this article you might like. On the surface, it's innocent, but where the fuck is this going? I agree. There can be guys like that if they're coworkers and they're the same thing, but overall, 80, 90% of the time, I'm with you. Yeah, it's like a passive orbiting move. She claims it's part of her job now, and she's not even attracted to these guys. But I don't feel that way as she talks about one guy a lot more than the others. That's a red flag, dude. So here's the thing. If you've been together for years and the behavior starts to change and she does start to talk about a guy, she doesn't even know that she's doing it. Women tend to hint. They don't tell you the whole story. Her doing this, she's actually giving you some very big hints that if she's talking about a guy regularly to you in a positive way, regularly, not just, here and there. Yeah, she's probably interested. Yep, that's true. Whether she acts on it is a different thing. You can be interested. You can flirt with the idea in your head. You're human. You're allowed to look at the menu. Just don't order. And I know she hasn't slept with anyone, but I feel like at any given moment she could do it. She said that I have women that like me at my job. I said, yes, but I don't casually text them and I don't stay overnight at my job. I agree with you. Here's the issue. I don't think she's going to change that if she likes what she does and she's doing well at it. That's when she got up and said, look, I'm not quitting this job. I actually love this job. And if you can't deal with that, maybe we need a break. I agreed and now regret that I agreed. Okay, so this is good that you sent this in. What's the alternative? If you didn't agree to the break, are you going to break up? She's basically, you're putting out there a valid request on the relationship that you're fed up with this job and you're getting out in front of a situation that you don't think is going to be good. But she's saying, look, it's not going to change. So what's your alternative to accepting that? So don't get too down on yourself, because I think you do need a break. Breaks aren't really good usually, but in this particular situation, it means she doesn't want to break up with you, but you're at a stalemate, right? You need time in this break for you, not to figure out how you're going to get her to quit this job or to keep hammering her with your point, and ask yourself, can I find a way to accept this? Can I meet her halfway on the bridge? If you can't, then you got to think to yourself, how can I move forward? Because I'm not going to put up with this. I've been in my house pacing the hallways, thinking of calling her to talk this out, but I know she's stubborn and I can't get her to quit this job. Well, if it's going to be quit this job or I break up with you, she'll probably break up with you. Okay. She's 30 years old. If you do that gun to the head type negotiation, then she probably will. If you find some kind of way that you can deal with this and accept it and trust her, then you got a good chance of working this out. For how long? I don't know. I don't blame you. This is not a good situation. She spends 10 days at this retreat. She's working one-on-one with guys, and she's already texting them, and she said it's part of her job. She doesn't realize it, but she's passively entertaining upgrades. And I say that with sensitivity to you, because there's that hypergamy game where it's like, I want someone equal or higher value as a woman, right? And she sees you as someone like that. But if she's constantly coming across guys one-on-one situations, yeah, this could be a problem long term. There's not a quick answer to it, but she's not going to quit her job. I know we still have a chance to get back together, but how do I deal with the text messages that she thinks are just okay? Well, one thing I didn't always suggest, but I've talking to clients that have done this, and I'm actually considering doing it with certain clients that I've had in the past because they've asked me, is I would say, if you're on a break right now, you're at a stalemate, get a couples counselor that you choose. I would recommend, not her, so that you have a referee on this stuff. If you're willing to do that, then maybe it wouldn't be so much, I want this, you want that. I would consider a couples counselor if you guys were going to try to work this out. If she says, no, I don't even want to do that, right? But that would be my first suggestion. What's my plan of action here, Mac? Well, I definitely think you should give it a week to 10 days. Just lay off calling her, because what you're going to be susceptible to doing is just saying the same things you've already been saying. So you want her to quit her job. You want her to stop texting these guys. And so you're being forceful with it. There's something called power versus force. The power is there's a lot more power in being understanding, but also accepting the situation. She's not quitting her job. How are you going to deal with that without feeling like you gave in? That would be the plan of action. If you see no light at the end of that tunnel, then you have to start saying, can I trust her long term? And how can I trust her? Because the idea of her not working at this job, or you badgering her about being around these guys or being away, find the finish line. How long do you plan on doing this job? For another year, 6 months? Is this going to be your long-term career? Right? So those are some things to look at. If you have more trouble with that, book a live coaching session with myself and we'll fully unpack it a little deeper, because there's probably a little bit more to the story, right? A little more details. All right. Getting back to the live stream for a few minutes. Odd caller, because Will is I'm sorry. and I find the house is cheaper. Bro, I want my ex back so badly, and I want to start a new chapter. Okay, good. Odd Carlo, start a new chapter. That's great. Go to a new country. I've done it before. It works well. Can't wait to see you next week. You too, Miguel. Miguel's got a live coaching session booked. And the last one we had, I think, was excellent. I think it helped you out a lot. So I'm happy about that. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. There's usually a little bit of delay when the messages come in, but if you have some quick questions, topics you want me to touch on, let me know. One thing this is what I was going to mention to you guys today. I did pull up some comments from videos I've had this past week. So I thought I would just share some of these with you, go through them. Jamil, my situation, she said she needs time to get herself together. I noticed certain things. She never really came around. She'd go days, no call, no show. I just lost my last job, but I got another one and I'm starting my CDL class in a few weeks. I love driving. She told me out of her own mouth she cares, but doesn't want to be with me. So right there, that's your clarity. No call, no show. She cares about you, but she doesn't want to be with you. That means you're here, she's here. Can't change that usually, right? Something's keeping you in that game. Attraction, I would bet it's intimacy. And a lot of time men complain, they get upset, they point out all the bad shit. And then when you ask them, why are you still with them? It's the intimacy or the attraction. But really deep down inside, will you bet on yourself as a single man to meet someone better or higher value? Why are you settling? She told me out of her own mouth she cares but doesn't want to be with me. This female is 32, 3 kids, 2 baby daddies. I was the fool who was willing to step in and be a father to her kids. Well, fool me once, fool me twice. That sounds like an admirable thing to do, but it doesn't sound like she really wanted that. I can't lie, I begged. I've known this female since I was 22. She was 18. She lied about a lot. I was her first. I have a lot going for myself. Well, you know what? Keep on moving. As the great Bob Marley said. Aiva is the name. We have all fallen at some point for the snake in the grass. I think every person that crosses our path is here to teach us something, or for some certain lessons have to be taught multiple times. Saying it from my own experience after going after toxic people and sometimes even being that toxic person myself. Well, there you go. Way to be accountable. I agree. People are there to teach us multiple lessons. You look back at bad times, and those are the greatest lessons. Thanks for that, Aiva. Enid Martinez. My ex just broke up with me to focus on his recent FBI agent career and said it wasn't fair to string me along because he feels we cannot have a healthy relationship due to his work. He said the expression, if you love someone, you got to let them go. And if it's meant to be, he will come back. He said the expression. Okay. I didn't beg at all. I actually said I understand that love is unselfish. Well, good for you to be understanding. That sounds like a very admirable thing to do, to pursue a career in the FBI and to not string you along and for you to deal with it so gracefully. Good for you. Ann Owens, I don't understand long distance relationships. I'm pretty open-minded and I don't feel like I could or would want that. Just me though. Well, never say never. A lot of times with these long distance relationships, they're not intentional. I mean, the original way that long distance relationships happened is someone had to move for university, for a job, for a circumstance outside the relationship that was needed or wanted. And people think, oh, because we're so in love, we can make it work. Long distance relationships have evolved on the internet to start that way. Now, if you start in a long distance relationship with no finish line of ever meeting, that to me, you got to meet at some time in person. But the intentions of long distance are usually good. But overall, there's an expiration date. Someone gets sick of it, it gets old, and it doesn't last. Can it work? I've seen it work. It takes a lot of trust, security, love. And I'd add this. Both of you have really strict morals and values. And I'd add probably you don't have a lot of options where you're at. If you had a multitude of options where you were, like when you go to a university, then it's more susceptible to get into temptation, and break up. Can't just wait to see you next week. Aren't trust issues insecurities? I'm sure they can fall under the same umbrella. Are you watching any of the live Johnny Depp defamation case? I've been asked about that, and yes, I got caught on it on YouTube a few times where I just kind of stuck my head in there and listened to a few different things, but I haven't watched it at depth. A friend of mine had asked me about that. I try to stay away from stuff like that, but I could see how it would be addicting. I like Johnny Depp. I loved him in Blow. George, what do you know about cocaine? Great movie. So interested to hear your thoughts. Yeah, so I don't know all the details, but it sounds like this guy was with some woman that's highly obsessive, abusive, verbally abusive also. And for him to want to put it out there, I'm curious about the intentions of that. But one thing that comes to my mind, learning a lot more about psychology, working with people one-on-one and coaching and relationships and breakups. And now I do hypnotherapy with hypnosis and things like that, learning people's intricacies individually. This is what I'll say. Being an actor or an actress and playing a lot of different roles would probably really screw with your identity. And our identity is really important. And our identities are really important. We play different roles in our life. You're a son, you're a father, maybe. I'm a coach, right? There's different roles we play. There's different uniforms we wear. Like if you're an actor and you completely go into character about different people, I would think it would screw up your moral compass, your way of looking at life psychologically. And it makes me wonder why all these people have so many problems. So with the money and fame comes a huge burden of everyone looking at your life and then you being susceptible to someone that puts you on a pedestal and is absolutely obsessed with you. It sounds like that's what it was with her. Like the actions that she's doing, and I don't know the specifics of it. So I don't know deep of it. I've probably spent 10 minutes watching a couple different videos. But it sounds like one of those things. She was so scared to lose him that she overcompensated and got obsessive. And that's the danger of putting someone on a pedestal. All right, folks, it's been good. It's been grand. We got a few on deck, 4 likes. I'll be back on deck tomorrow, 10 a.m. New topic in hand. And it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a really good one. It's curtains.